Hi City Life family, hope you're doing okay. It's lovely to be with you again. I've been thinking this time my little thought for the day is going to be around the subject of wonder. I was inspired once again by the Bethel guys who were talking about the fact that we can experience wonder anytime and be in the presence of God anytime. Even in the mundane and the hard things we can find wondrous things, and they challenged us to look for that in our day. This is what they said. The wondrous can be found anywhere, like being on the bench swing under the trees looking into the sunlit leaves. The way the light spills and leaves glow in cascades, gold-rimmed, vibrant green. The canopy in uproar of radiance, a fire on every branch. I stare until I'm convinced that part of heaven must be on the end of a stem. I thought that was amazing, but it takes time, doesn't it? It takes us being still. It takes us looking, really looking, and asking God to speak to us and show us things. They said that wonder fills up the soul and causes our hearts to swell into sails that can catch God's wind. It's the choice to perceive his love and beauty in the world, his intention and design. It's to enjoy him. It means that meaning is woven in everywhere and we can't exhaust it. And we can more graciously walk through the mundane and difficult parts of our life by practicing the disposition of wonder. So I took the challenge, particularly that day. I thought, what am I going to wonder on today, Lord? How are you going to speak to me about that today? And so I went into the garden and I found this amazing thing. Look. Isn't this amazing? I'm sure most of you gardeners will know what it is, but just look at that. It's absolutely stunning. It's a passion flower. It's an open one, just completely and utterly wide open. And what a structure it is. And I felt God inspired me, but he's inspired others before from this plant, which is why it's called the passion flower anyway. But I've written a little poem and I'll tell you what he showed me through it. The passion flower on our garden wall scales the bricks like an expert mountaineer, its tendrils seeking footholds to aid ascent. Not content to linger at ground level, this plant is heaven-bound. The fingers of glossy palmate leaves cover the wall in a blanket of green, leaving small gaps to view the brickwork in between. Once in place, they lie open and wide, like cupped hands asking for more from a benevolent Father who pours his goodness into them as early morning dew, with sunshine to follow until they are full. Nestling between this foliage green lie wonders the like of which we've never seen. Green capsules burst open and an explosion of light, revealing the inside so perfectly white, speaking of holiness and dazzling purity, secrets of heaven and deep mystery. Sepals draw back as if to puff out their chests, exposing their hearts and all the rest. Such wonder and meaning to be found as a prize for those who will allow their eyes to gaze upon and really see within them the everlasting story. 10 petals, their ends pointed like spears, the number marking the obedience of one who desired to be a most faithful son. Giving the Father what delighted him most, lost children redeemed, at personal cost to the one who was pierced by such a spear. Blood and water poured out and made the way clear for us to return to live in the Father's care. Nothing more valuable than finding ourselves there. Cherished, redeemed, forgiven and accepted, so much better than being constantly rejected. The corona is next, depicting the crown, made up of thorns and worn by the one who humbled himself that we might be crowned with honour and blessing, dressed in royal gowns. Robes of righteousness by another name. We didn't deserve it, that is for certain, but grace made it possible all the same. 5 stamens stand next in perfect formation. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, redemption, creation. 5 great mysteries the world cannot fathom, inviting us into restoration, salvation. Their anthers arch over as if bowing down to the one who died to save us from fear. 5 is the number of wounds that he bore, perfect love described in 4 nails plus 1 spear. 5 senses we have to experience his glory, to taste his goodness and behold his beauty. 5 fingers on each hand and toes on each foot, to raise up in worship and dance in praise, to serve and follow him all our days. Above the stamens the ovary arises, swollen with seeds, pregnant with promises. Prepared and expectant of fruit she will carry, she stands assured of new life and awaits it patiently, for her day will surely come. 3 stigmas arise from her and complete the bloom, like wide-headed nails, describes their form. Symbols of the passion of the one pinned to a tree, they also speak of his sovereignty. Death could not hold him, the Spirit raised him high. Grave clothes were exchanged for a shroud of holiness and light. Transformed, transfigured, before us he stands, the world beneath his feet, eternity in his hands. Victorious over sin and pain, tearing death asunder, we can only worship him in reverence and wonder. This wondrous little flower, complete in its perfection, illuminates for us all the glory of heaven. Why don't you go and find something wondrous? Why don't you let God speak to you through it? I'd love to see, either on Facebook or on Thursday night or on Sunday morning when Shine's on tour, I'd love to see what God spoke to you through the wonders he showed you this week. Lots of love. Bye-bye.